Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well, staying safe, taking care of yourselves, all those kind of things. And if you're new here, I'm Jim. Great to meet you. Thanks for stopping by. I make tutorial videos here every week showing you how I edit my photos using various software products. Today I'm in Luminar AI, and I have a photo that, you know what? It was kind of a throwaway shot, to be honest. Here's the photo. Let me just show you. I was in Dublin, Ireland. This is from a number of years ago, and frankly, the photo, it's just, there's not much to it. It's just a bridge over the River Liffey. I just like bridges. I like the city, blah, blah, blah. Boring. But I turned it into that, which is a whole lot more fun. And that was my intent. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm trying to reinvent, just completely overhaul this photo and take it from something that's pretty lame, to be honest, to something that at the very least is more colorful and fun and interesting. Let me hit reset and we'll walk through that. Okay, I'm in the Edit tab. First stop is Composition AI and a 16:9 crop. And I need to straighten the photo as well. I'm going to do something about like that. Let me see here. I think I'm going to go, I'm going to go about like that. Once you get it in place, just hit Enter and you're ready to go. Now, as you can see, I obviously replaced the sky, and whenever I know I'm going to do that, that's the first thing I do after cropping. I'm going to go to Creative, Sky AI, and click Sky Selection, and then go load a custom sky image. And the one I'm going to get is in my friend Matt Seuss's Sky Pack. I'll put a link down below. It is an affiliate link if you want to purchase that. Matt pays me for referring people his way. But it's a great sky pack. I've done other videos about it. Anyway, he has one called Desert Sunsets, which is actually a specific pack. He's got several of them. Anyway, I'm going to use number 7 and click Open and drop that sky onto this photo. There you go. But I need to bring the position of the horizon down. So I think I was at about -50. And all I'm trying to do is get more of that color to be in the places I want it to be honest. Okay, and whenever I'm replacing a sky, as I said, I do that first, but then once I'm done, I go back to the Essentials tab and I start with Light Tool. That is basically your develop tool. I want to start there with things like contrast, temperature, tint, all that. So speaking of temperature and tint, I'm going to pull the temperature down a little cooler, and the tint, let me check that. I'm going to go a little bit more towards the magenta. As you can see, I'm creating a lot more of a sunset look. Obviously, that sky is a sunset. The previous version, the real version, I should say, it actually was close to sunset, but as you can tell, there's nothing in the sky. This sky, of course, is a lot more fun. I'm going to slightly reduce the exposure of the image, and that's part of me adding a little bit of mood to the image, which is what I want to do. And then I'm going to add some smart contrast. Now I'm on to Enhance AI and Accent AI. I'm going to go to about 11 or 12. I'm also going to use a little sky enhancer at about 35, 36, something like that. And all I'm doing is just messing with the tones in the image. So if you look at the before, you can see the foreground area is a little bit darker and the sky is a little bit lighter. And after, it's a little bit of the reverse. The AI Accent AI, I'm always calling it the wrong thing. Accent AI does a good job of brightening the dark areas, and the sky enhancer acts like a polarizer, adds a little bit more contrast and depth to that sky. Next up is Structure AI, and this will be a global adjustment there, going about 19, just adding a little bit of texture and crunch. Primarily, it's being applied, of course, to the buildings. It does show up some in the sky, but we're going to adjust that here in a minute. Next up is Golden Hour, one of my favorite tools. I use it on so many images, it's probably not even countable. It's just an absolutely just adorable slider, I think. It does that nice warm pop, which is great for sunset. Also, I think it does a good job of popping some of these lights in the stores and that sort of thing. I use it on a lot of photos. Okay, now I'm going to pop over to the Creative tab, and I want to get dramatic. And here I do about a 35 or something. And again, this is really just me kind of crunching up a little bit of that cityscape, those components there. I just want to add a little bit more oomph. And if you remember the first one, it's pretty drab, kind of boring and all that kind of stuff. The new sky is going to help, of course, but even the textures and all that, there's a lot of buildings, the walkway on the bridge, all that, it's just kind of boring. It's now starting to show a little bit more interest to me and creating a little bit more pop, which I think looks much better. And then, of course, one of my favorites is Mystical, and I'm going to go about a 37 or so here, 36, something like that. Great at adding mood. Mystical, I think, is a great term for it. Just adds a bit of contrast, brightens a little bit of the brighter stuff, darkens a little bit of the dark stuff. And if you can't tell from the final photo, I'm kind of darkening some of those edge bits. I want the pathway to be fairly lit, not real bright, but you know, brightish. And of course the sky is a bit lighter because the light is still in it. It's not quite nighttime, but in some ways I'm creating a path of light through the image, which you're going to be drawn to anyway because it's a straight shot down the bridge. Okay, so at this point, I like the image, but there's some specific things I want to do, and that's where local masking comes in really handy. It's over here. I've already done a few videos about it. You can check out there if you'd like to. Click on local mask. I'm going to click add and basic. And here what I'm focused on is really the bottom portion of the image. And so a lot of times I'll make the adjustments and then add a mask. Some people prefer to add the mask and then just make the adjustments to the area that's masked. It works fine either way. I'll go ahead this time and add the mask first. So gradient mask going to go across the bottom of the photo, something about like that. And if I hit the / key, you can see where these edits are going to be applied. I haven't done anything yet, but they're going to apply specifically to that area. So I'm going to hit the / again, hit the return key, and I'm going to come over here now and make some adjustments. The first one is warmth. I want to add a bit of warmth to the bottom of this photo, so it's something like 40, 42. Just trying to get a little bit of warmth there in the bottom half of that photo because I want it to pick up some of that warmth and that warm color that's in the sky. Contrast is something like maybe a 10 or so. AI structure, another 8 or 9, something like that. Again, just working on that lower portion of the photo. And I'm at a little bit of vibrance as well, so like 12 or 13. And now if I turn this off, if you look at the before, again, that bottom, third, not quite half of the photo, basically the walkway and, up to just the edge of the buildings, that's before and that's after. Just got a little bit more visual interest, a little bit more crunch, a little bit more warmth, things like that. But of course, there's more I want to do, so I'm going to add another basic local mask. And this one is going to be a negative AI structure across the sky. So I'm going to say like negative 60 or so. And I've got a brush, so I'm just going to increase the size of that. And I'm going to do this pretty quick. And you can see the mask as you're painting it, which I think is a nice thing to have. And again, pretty quick, kind of sloppy. I'm just kind of showing you how this works. I'm not trying to be very, super incredibly accurate or specific. There we go. Just basically slapping some negative structure into the sky, which I like to do, as you may have seen in some of my other videos. But that just softens it up. To me, makes it a little bit dreamier, and there's a little bit of a contrast between the color and the sort of the vibrancy, for lack of a better word, and the softness of the sky with the crunchiness and the hardness and kind of the cooler, darker, kind of moodier look of the foreground. Now there's one more thing I want to do while I'm on the local mask. So I'm going to say add and one more basic local mask. And this one, I'm going to take the shadows down like negative 38, 39, something like that, and just brush it in here to these sides, kind of along this riverside and the side of the bridge. And now I'm going to come over here and do this one as well. And all I'm doing is, like I said, creating a little bit of visual interest and kind of drawing the viewer's eye straight down. In other words, I'm creating contrast between the edges of the bridge and the center of the bridge. And you could do that by lightening the center of the bridge or by darkening the edges. I chose to darken the edges. Kind of depends on what you want to do, but I wanted to darken those a little bit because I don't want your eye to be distracted by, oh, I could look through the rails and see the water, or there's stone over there, things like that. I don't really care. I don't want you to go there. I want you to go straight down the photo, kind of being led into the city and like, wow, what a gorgeous sunset. So that's kind of how I'm doing that. And now that I've finished with the local mask, I can go back, and that's something to be aware of. You can use all the tools on these 4 tabs, and they apply globally unless you mask them. Because remember, you do have tool masks or filter masks on these individual tools and filters except for light. But even though I've used the local mask to do very specific things, I can now come back and make further adjustments or apply additional filters here that I haven't used before. And in this case, I want to use Vignette. So I'm going to do about a negative 35, 37, 38, something like that. And size, I got to check my notes. Size is about a 22, 23. And the other thing I want to do is some inner light, which I just love. I just think every Vignette tool in every app should have some kind of inner light. And I'm going to go about 25, 26, something like that there. Again, this is a little bit of me darkening the edges and kind of removing the distractions, because the brighter, more colorful stuff will get your eye. And so brighter on the path to lead your eye that way to the colorful stuff in the sky. A little bit more darkness on the edges so that you're less inclined to have your eye wandering over there. That's just kind of how I think about it. I think it works in this photo. Let me turn off the vignette. There it is before vignette, and there it is after. You can see how that center is brightened. I think it draws your eye right down there pretty well. And that's really it. That's how I basically overhauled and reinvented this photo. So if I show you the before, there it is, fairly drab, not really anything exciting going on, and now much more interesting and vibrant. And, you know, admittedly, it's not real. I mean, I put in a new sky. I'm the first to admit that. I made a video about it. You're watching it. But so cool, so much fun, and so interesting to me to be able to go in and take photos that were basically throwaway shots and save them by putting in a sky, making all these adjustments to tools and filters, local masks, things like that. It's just a lot of fun, and it gives you the power and the flexibility to literally reinvent some photos and breathe new life into them. That was my attempt of what I was trying to do here. I think I succeeded. More than anything, I just hope it's something that gives you some ideas about what you can do in your photos. And also, of course, I appreciate you watching my videos. Thanks very much, my friends. I'll see you really soon. You guys take care of yourselves, and adios.